Hey, I hope you didn't all pack up for a vacation, because this isn't to some island, it's to a zoo, because it's the Penguins of Madagascar movie! Wait, that wouldn't take place in a zoo either, unless it was that TV show. Anyway, Patreon request! This is the movie critic dude's request, and he wanted me to at least finish off the film line in the Madagascar series, since at present, any plans for a fifth movie are underwater thanks to DreamWorks' restructuring in 2015. This movie, on the other hand, came out November of 2014, several years after the spin-off TV show of the same name, just with "the" in the title. Now, while this film is once again under the directorship of Eric Darnell, it was also directed by Simon Smith, who has had a hand in the animation department for a few DreamWorks films, as well as directing B-Movie, which I seriously need to get to at some point. On the other hand, it seems that our usual co-director for the franchise, Tom McGrath, is only providing his character voice again, so I guess less input on the story and direction from him. But what can you do with a bunch of maniacal penguins who treat life like it's a spy game? Well, as it turns out, plenty. Let's look into the origin and the continuation of the lives of the Penguins of Madagascar. Naturally, we begin in Antarctica. Nice use of the DreamWorks logo, by the way, where we're treated to what I assume is a March of the Penguins reference. Soon we meet chick versions of Skipper, Kowalski, Rico, and... wait a minute, where's Private?
Hey, this could be our thing. What are we gonna call it? Let's call it the, High One. What? Hey, anybody see that? That's an egg.
Yes!
Yes, even at the beginning, they're just as crazy as they are adults. Since they're trying to break the cute and cuddly stereotype that even the narrator was making them out to be, and defy nature, even if someone else has to do it for them.
Tiny and helpless, the baby penguins are frozen with fear. They know if they fall from this cliff, they will surely die. Gunther, give them a shove.
Harnessing the jellyfish we've trained to obey simple voice commands.
So remember, kids, documentary crews are secretly causing acts of animal cruelty. But in any case, let's see them kick some ass.
Atta boy, Rico! Don't let him have it!
Oh boy!
Fire it! Not till we see the white of its eyes.
They're mostly pupil. Very little white, almost none.
They gotta have a little bit of white, right?
None whatsoever.
What if they look really far to the left? Fire in the hole!
Good job! Now you're stranded in the middle of a drifting ice sheet with no way back. Not the crew's problem, though, even though they helped make it happen. But hey, we get to see the birth of Private at least.
Moment of extraordinary beauty.
Oh, that's disgusting. I think I have amniotic sac in my mouth.
Oh.
Hello, are you my family?
Well, as they're drifting off to sea, with no way to find out, the three brothers decide they must do the right thing and...
You don't have a family and we're all going to die. Sorry.
What?
No one's gonna die. Know what you've got, kid? You've got us. We've got each other. If that ain't a family, I don't know what is. So adorable.
Where are we going?
The future, boys. Glorious future.
And with that bit of setup, we jump ahead to what they consider their glorious future, 10 years later, and just shortly after the events of Madagascar 3. They're starting to leave, while admitting they don't like King Julian's signature song either, but not so much to leave for good, but because it's Private's birthday, and he wants something from Fort Knox. Well, actually, Skipper wants something, because if this isn't obvious enough...
Because I respect a soldier with some moxie.
Really? Then I really think we
Whoa,
shouldn't...
whoa, whoa! Dial back the moxie, Sassmouth. Oh, look at you. Still so adorable.
It's that Private doesn't get taken seriously, because he's the cute one. Thus, he's always outspoken and doesn't get much to contribute. That's basically his character arc, to be considered a valuable member of the team. In any case, what did they come here for, that they had to break out the stereotypical Kentucky music for this? Well, it's not the gold deposit that's here.
I think to be a meaningful and valued member of this team.
Oh, well, we got you something else. Well, not just any vending machine, Private. The last remaining home in America's nanny state for those succulent but chemically hazardous bits of puffed heaven cold.
Oh, cheesy dibbles!
That's right. They broke into one of the most highly secured buildings in the US just to buy some cheese puffs. If that isn't the most inane thing ever, I don't know what is. And yet it's totally what I would have expected from these guys. However, they each end up being grabbed by some sort of octopus, who then up and takes the machine with them. Not even banjos can stop this thing. The penguins get taken to Venice and dropped off inside a submarine where it's revealed they ate all the cheese puffs!
Rico, bust us out of this delicious prison. Nice work, Rico. You are a meaningful and valued member of this team.
You know, unless I'm remembering it wrong, I do seem to recall Private being a bit more useful than he is right now. Unless it's because he's trying to be more than a capable fighter, then okay. Just something seems a little off with this one character arc to me. And seriously, he keeps touching buttons. In any case, it's time to see our main villain.
Pretty birds belong in their cages.
Oh.
Dr. Octavius, the dangerous mix between Doc Ock, Spider-Man, and Mr. Fantastic, apparently. He seems to know them, despite being a well-renowned scientist, with the voice of John Malkovich, who likes to creep around in unusual fashion and stretch his limbs out very far. However, this is merely a disguise for his true form.
A name perhaps you'd hoped you'd never hear again. A phantom, a shadow of a former life. I am Dave!
Wow. Dave the Octopus! I'm so scared! So while they don't remember him, he remembers them and goes over his origins.
Life was good. Roomy tank, great location, monkey house views, and of course, my adoring legion of fans.
Cool.
And then you arrived.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
And took everything from me. With you around, no one wanted an old octopus anymore.
Oh, okay, so he was a popular animal somehow, and he got replaced. I guess it would make sense to want revenge on...
And so it went, over and over. At zoo, after aquarium. While I was shunned. Forgotten. Unwanted. Alone.
Wait, you mean to tell me no one thought to send you to an aquarium or a zoo with a dedicated sea animal section? Because it seems to me that whoever is managing these zoos doesn't know that you don't have to keep bumping this one animal off to different places just because a completely different kind of animal gets popular. After all, the penguins didn't get booted when Alex showed up, and he was the most popular animal for years.
I came to realize some creatures are born to get all the love. The rest of us get nothing.
Well, one can argue dogs get more love than cats, but yeah, he plans to destroy all penguins somehow. using whatever that green stuff is. Thus, he sends his Octarians to catch them.
Nicholas, cage them.
Crash, great.
Well, by using their cheese breath, they steal the green stuff and escape through the city. I just want to say, I really love how this is animated, in particular with the octopi and how they move about, causing the camera to flip and all that. Plus, they get pretty creative with the chase, as while they run out of water to sail on, they just ride the boat on land. All the while, though, some creatures are spying on the chase. And as soon as our heroes get cornered, they spring into action. Holy crap, Norm is packing!
Now what the heck is going on?
Remain calm, penguins. You are now under the protection of the North Wind. You're welcome.
North Wind, huh? Well, where were you when Dubois tried killing Alex in the last movie? But maybe the wolf will tell us who they are. If Skipper will stop eating.
Undercover interspecies task force dedicated to dedicated to helping animals who can't help themselves.
Anyway, the wolf's real name is unknown, but Skipper calls him Classified, though I just think of him as Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange. Peter Stormare voices Corporal, the rather effectual polar bear. Annette Menandrew voices Eva, who Kowalski seems to really like. And lastly, Ken Jeong voices Short Fuse.
Put on your jammies, penguin.
Rob the angry out of the tummy.
Hey, calm! Do not panic! We will still win! Be full of love! Don't hate! Follow your dreams! Love yourself! Love other people! Pick and choose your battles in life!
Yeah, thankfully he's not as annoying as in some other films. The Penguins get taken to North Wind's base, where we don't see much of the staff, other than it's full of clones. Naturally, Skipper doesn't seem to take things seriously, since he's a bit egocentric, but would rather talk of silly things that wouldn't make sense in the real world. Every exchange they have is haha funny. This certainly is.
That Dr. Octavius Brine is actually an individual known as Derek.
Dave.
As Dave, the octopus.
An octopus? No, Dr. Brine is not an octopus. He is...
An octopus. Precisely. That's exactly what our intel indicated.
Release the sheep.
Personally, I think he wanted an excuse to have an emergency meal. Oh, and this is a bit funny too.
Damn it, Dave. Dave!
He hacked into our system.
Where's the sound? I
Dave,
can't.
your
I can't
microphone,
hear
it's not
anything.
on.
Click on the button with the picture of the microphone.
Every time a villain calls in, this happens.
Hello? Hello?
Well, now we can
So
hear you, but
annoying.
we cannot see you.
Every time.
That's like talking to my parents.
There are times where funny villains can work and other times they can't, depending on the kind of film you're talking about. This film, though, being a comedy, is one of those times where a funny villain definitely works. Turns out the Medusa serum they stole wasn't the only batch. He's got a whole tank of it, and he's planning to use it on every single penguin in the world, or at the very least any zoo he can find, as he instantly takes the Berlin Zoo penguins after the call. Everyone prepares for battle.
I'm initiating Northwind Protocol Zeta.
12 more penguins taken from London Zoo.
Okay, boys, this is it. The mission we've been preparing for our entire lives. We're gonna take down Dave or die trying. Of course, cancel our improv class.
Yes, sir.
Pico, Equipify. Hey. Private, do that little thing I like. It's still funny.
Skipper, good news. I got them to credit our class.
I think the other major theme of this movie is a clash of two kinds of spy groups. One is the no-nonsense and serious kind. The other is a bunch of knuckleheads who somehow get around. Too bad the penguins get darted and shipped to a safe house. In Madagascar, it seems. This makes Skipper mad.
Dirty dog is trying to kick us off the mission.
He thinks we can't save the penguins because we're just penguins.
Well, penguins are our flesh and feathers. They're us. And if anyone's gonna save us, it's us.
Oh, I hope his character development makes him realize he's a bit over his head. Because of course, he endangers everyone by ejecting from the plane. Quick, catch a different plane!
Aim for first class!
What? That's what should have happened after breaking into a plane and causing decompression. Especially since they do this not once, but twice. Also, they can catch a ride to Berlin, but fail to. So they have to make an emergency landing. Oh well, might as well go to a different zoo.
Elijah, would you please take them away?
The North Wind learned that the four are not at the designated safe house and are now at Shanghai. The penguins soon realize that Dave is going to each zoo he's been to based on the snow globes they stole earlier, which is a lot less than the number of zoos he's already gone to by now. Naturally, Dave is there already in his human disguise, which seems odd to be using. When people recognize you and think the doctor did it? Whatever. Skipper and crew catch on and begin preparations. Private has his chance to say his thoughts on being a team member and not some mermaid dancer.
If you think I'm ready, which I am, assuming you agree, and perhaps even if you don't.
I like the moxie, soldier, but right now I need a tail on that tush and the cutest smile you got. You trust me, soldier?
Aye, aye, Skipper.
Oh, you. Won't somebody think of the poor Private? They initiate their plan and it seems to go off without a hitch. They even catch Dave just as the North Wind shows up. However, he escapes through the pipes. Maybe if you actually listened to him, this wouldn't have happened. They hijacked the North Wind's plane to try and chase after Dave, who in the time they took to properly get off the ground should have been long gone. But whatever. The North Wind tried to catch up in pretty cool fashion. Then, after more shenanigans, including a bathroom joke, they lose them. And would you believe we're only halfway into the movie? Yeah, it feels like we were just in the second act and are ready for the upcoming climax. But no, we're only now in the second act. While this movie can be pretty funny at times, it certainly feels like it's dragging its feet now. Of course, while Skipper plays Castaway, the North Wind are eating fancy. They reveal they were tracking Private to where he was, as they put trackers on all of them during darting, and this is meant to be the point where Skipper starts to see that they're not exactly professionals in comparison to the real ones. But as this next sequence will show, even professionals will have some issues. But first, it's time to see what Dave really intends to do with the Medusa serum.
It works! I made a monster! I made a monster!
Bastard! Turning cute creatures into gremlins? You're sick. He finds Private, who gives his "you won't get away with this, my brothers are coming" spiel, which would signify the bond of brothers, but it just means Dave can bolster his defenses. Let me guess. They'll still find a way to blame Private despite him only being sentimental earlier. Meanwhile, both groups decide to have a plan off, which results in nonsense from Skipper and a wake-up call from Classified, with his own plan.
All right, at 2150, Skipper Kowalski and Richard, was it? Divert the octopi away from their posts. At 2200, short fuse breaches the hull with a swarm of self-guided underwater nanocharges.
I call them wet kabooms.
Yes, please don't.
Okay, sorry.
At 2202, knock knock.
Who's there?
The North Wind.
The North Wind who?
The North Wind who doesn't have time for knock knock jokes because we're too busy taking down day.
And it was at this moment that Skipper learned he was outclassed. Even Skipper acknowledges that Classified had a better plan and believes that this is best for Private's sake. So, what's the distraction? Dress up like German dancers.
We take this shame to our graves.
Agreed.
Why is this working? Time to go Starship Trooper on their ass!
Show me your tentacle. All of them.
How did they not anticipate that? So yeah, not even that heightened security. Just knowing they were coming was enough to come up with a simple plan. Anyway, everyone's captured. Now Dave can go through with his plan.
Turn us into monsters.
Yepper do. And what comes next, Dave? Invasion! Horrible mutant penguins unleashed on the streets of New York City!
Look, I'm aware of Attack of the Mutant Penguins. If AVGN taught me anything, it's that all you need is a giant bat. They tried desperately to find the paperclip that Private ate earlier, because they're gonna go full power on him to overcome his cute factor. But it seems to be too late, as the ray is fired, and he's dead?
Maniac! You blew him up! Oh well, this is why we test things, people.
The Grinch agrees with you, but it turns out he did escape, just missing his tail feathers now, and has to be the solo spy who saves everyone in the end by first saving the North Wind.
Oh no, we're dead! Dead! Dead!
I pushed a button.
Dude, don't ever leave the time stone ever again. It'll save your ass next time. Classified plans to go back to HQ and get prepped for a counter-assault, but Private wants to save everyone now because...
Skipper wouldn't care. Plan or no, fancy equipment or no. He'd never leave a man behind.
family takes precedence over all else. That's the gist of this. And I guess Dave doesn't care if he ever gets loved again, because he just wants them to be despised in front of the whole world. And indeed, because he shows up to the people, in overdramatic fashion, must take after Megamind, and by his command turns the penguins into mutants, and causes the aspect ratio to change.
What?
All the people love you. Just go give them a hug.
I guess this was another sign of the 3D release? I mean, what do you call this? So his master plan is to have them cause chaos and destruction to where he can have people call the exterminators, just to get rid of them? Well, that's one way of doing it. Instead of killing them outright, let's make people hate them first and then kill them. As for Private, well, he actually does something right by taking the mutant ray and escape outside. He wants to find Skipper because only he has a plan, and a cat in his stomach.
It's me, Private. I've got a plan, but I need your help. I need my Skipper. Huh? Yes, that's it.
Private, you're alive!
Shoot me.
So yeah, his cuteness snapped him out of his craze. They also snapped Kowalski and Rico out of it, so the gang is back together. Private figures out that the ray could somehow be reversed to make everyone cute again, but will need an immeasurable amount of cuteness. So, Private goes in. The ray works, but it will make him uglier the longer this goes on.
Get out of there! That's an order!
Permission to defy order.
Permission denied!
Then I deny your denial.
It's too risky, Private. Already made you sprout a butt hand.
I know it has to be me this time. And I think you know it too. I'm the secret weapon!
You're a brave boy, Private.
Charlize, they're on the ray! Helen, hunt them down! William, hurt them! Hallie, bury them! Hugh, Jack, man the battle stations! Kevin, bake on! We're still gonna need that victory keg!
Yeah, I'm not gonna find any more clips for this. Sorry. Their victory is delayed due to a lack of battery power, so Private instructs them to get batteries and beat up the octopi. Fortunately, the North Wind return without their fancy tech and settle for blowing up the sub with an ice cream truck. And get caught anyway, so it was pointless. Things don't look good as Dave starts to catch them, but one last thing can save everyone. Cheese puffs.
It worked!
But it might have been too much, as now Private has been sealed inside a cocoon. However...
Private? Oh, look at that. Majestic.
Hello.
Happy birthday, you abominable freak of nature! At the very least, Skipper sees him as a valuable teammate, and everyone, including the North Wind, give him the heart sign. But what about Dave?
Ramirez! Dave!
Oh no, he's giant and cute! Nah, just kidding, he's tiny. Guess that's the result of the ray. He turns cute, but he's now tiny. But at least he'll have a happy end, and never mind. Naturally, Classified admits he was wrong to misjudge them, and offers to make it up to them. What do they ultimately get? Jetpacks!
Kowalski, what's our trajectory? 95% certain this will end in massive, flaming disaster. And the other 5%? Irrelevant, sir. Jetpacks are awesome.
Well, he's not wrong. They are pretty cool. And in case we ever do get another movie, they of course revert Private back to normal by using Mort's cuteness as a means to power the ray. He doesn't seem affected, at least.
I expected a little more pizzazz. Yes, now that's pizzazz.
Well, at least I got my happy ending. No more King Julian! Oh crap, he got his own Netflix show. At least it's a prequel series. Anyway, that's Penguins of Madagascar. I personally enjoyed it, but man does it drag on for too long. The main problem I have with the film is how it's paced. Because of the kind of humor they went with and the plot they had, some scenes ended up taking longer to finish, which is not helped by humor that admittingly is only half and half. Like, half of the humor is the enjoyable kind I've come to expect with these little nut jobs, while the other half doesn't always land. Though it does help that the Penguins have people who would fit within the insanity of spy animals that they can interact with, So on top of a decent professional spy versus reckless spy arc they had for Skipper, I can definitely see some good from the family theme they had for Private. Otherwise, Dave was at least a good funny villain given his antics, and the North Wind were alright. It could have been a lot worse given some casting. For an attempt at a spin-off movie on a successful film series, this one at least fared better than Minions did, given the way the characters were used. Plus, the Penguins have the advantage of actually talking instead of relying on physical humor all the time. And I'm pleased that what we got was enough to say it worked. Sadly, despite it making more than its initial budget and garnering a 73% RT score, DreamWorks had to make this a write-down. Not to mention, this was the final film to be animated by Pacific Data Images, who worked on many films for them since 1998. Kind of a sad way to end for them, even if, again, we would see more from the series through King Julian. But at the very least, for the films, it did go out on a relatively good note. Until otherwise, like if I sit down to watch the TV spin-off that has nothing to do with any of the films, the Penguins will go down as some of the funnier side characters of any DreamWorks film, and are another reason to see the Madagascar film series. This movie included. Next time, video game review! We're going to war, but for reasons that will require a bit of reasoning and a lot of resets. Stay tuned for more.
We take this shame to our graves.
Agreed.
Schnitzel, the favorite treat for little girls and boys to eat. Schnitzel man can serve them quick. It's a schnitzel on